6-Minute English
from BBC Learning English.
영어 성장의 든든한 동반자 보리영어입니다.
When these hormones are increased, it can cause anger and rage. Rage is another word for being very angry.
And when we're angry, we can behave impulsively. Impulsive behavior is when we do things without thinking, without considering the consequences.
So, when we're hungry, the same emotions can run through us. We can be angry and make poor decisions. And that is hanger.
네, 많이 들리셨나요? 해보겠습니다.
When these hormones are increased, it can cause anger and rage. When these hormones are increased, it can cause anger and rage. When these hormones are increased, when these hormones are increased, when these hormones are increased,
네, 배에 힘이 들어가나 확인해 보세요. 일부러 배에 힘을 넣는 건 아니고요. 호흡을 사전을 해보시면 알겠지만 그대로 따라 하다 보면은 배에 힘이 들어가게 돼 있어요. 그게 원어민들이 소리를 내는 방식입니다.
when these hormones are
네, 한 번 더 배 확인해 보세요. when these hormones are increased, when these hormones are increased, 네, 이 스트레스 호르몬이 증가하게 되면요.
it can cause anger. It can cause anger. It can cause
네, 뭘 불러일으킨답니다. 뭐가요?
It can cause anger.
It can cause anger. It can cause anger. It can cause anger.
It can cause anger. It can cause anger.
화가 나고요.
And rage. And rage.
And rage.
And rage. And rage.
네, 분노도 일으키죠.
Rage is another word for being very angry. Rage is another word. Rage is another word.
Is another word.
Rage is another word.
Rage is another word. Rage is another word. Rage is another word.
Rage is another word. Rage is another word.
예, rage 분노는 뭐뭐에 대한 다른 단어인데요.
Rage is another word for being very angry. For being very angry.
예, another 하면은 또 다른 하나의 그런 뜻이 되니까 그 뒤에는 단수가 오게 됩니다. 그래서 another word가 왔어요.
For being.
자, 어떤 거에 대한 거냐면 for being
very angry.
Very angry. For being very angry. For being very angry.
For being very angry.
아주 화가 난 거에 대한 단어라는 거죠. rage가.
And when we're angry, we can behave impulsively. And when we're angry, and when we're angry, and when we're angry,
we are angry, and when we are angry,
we can behave impulsively. We can behave impulsively. We can behave impulsively.
We can behave impulsively. 네, 화가 나면 충동적으로 행동한다는 거죠. We can behave impulsively. You can behave impulsively.
We can behave impulsively. And when we're angry,
and when we are angry,
we
can behave.
And when we're angry, we can behave. And when we're angry, we can behave
impulsively.
And when we're angry, we can behave impulsively. Impulsive behavior is when we do things without thinking, without considering the consequences. Impulsive behavior is when we do things with impulsive behavior.
behavior. 여기는 behave의 명사형이죠. behavior.
Impulsive behavior.
impulsive behavior.
Impulsive behavior. Impulsive behavior is when we do things. Is when we do things.
Is when we do things.
Is when we do things. Is when we do things.
Impulsive behavior is.
Impulsive behavior. Impulsive behavior. Impulsive behavior
is when you do things.
Impulsive behavior is when we do things with. Impulsive behavior is when we do things without thinking. Without thinking.
Without thinking.
Without thinking. Without thinking. Without thinking. Without thinking. Without considering the consequences. Without considering. Without considering.
Without considering. Without considering. consider에다가 ing 붙인 거예요. consider. considering.
Without considering. Without considering. Without considering the consequences. The consequences.
The consequences. 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 The consequences.
The consequences. The consequences.
Considering the consequences.
Considering the consequences. Considering the consequences.
Without considering.
Thinking. Without considering the consequences. Without considering the consequences.
Without considering the consequences.
Without considering the consequences. Without considering the consequences. Impulsive behavior. Impulsive behavior
is.
Impulsive behavior is when we do things.
Is when you do things.
Impulsive behavior is when we do things with. Impulsive behavior is when we do things
without thinking.
Impulsive behavior is when we do things without thinking. Impulsive behavior is when we do things without thinking.
Without considering.
Impulsive behavior is when we do things without thinking, without considering the consequences. Impulsive behavior is when we do things without thinking, without considering the consequences.
네, impulsive behavior 하면은 충동적으로 행동하는 것은 without thinking, 생각하지 않고 without considering, 깊이 생각하지 않고요. The consequences, 결과에 대한 미리 생각하는 것 없이 하는 행동을 impulsive behavior라고 했습니다.
So, when we're hungry, these same emotions can run through us. So, when we're hungry, So, when we are hungry.
So, when we are hungry. So, when we are hungry.
So, when we're hungry. So, when we're hungry.
그래서 배고프면.
The same emotions can run through us. The same emotions. The same emotions. The same emotions.
The same emotions.
The same emotions. The same emotions can run through us. Can run through us.
Can run through us. Can run through us. 우리를 통해서 흐르는 거니까 같은 그 감정을 우리가 경험하게 된다는 거죠.
Can run through us. Can run through us.
Can run through us. Can run through us. Can run through us.
Can run through us. Can run through us.
The same emotions.
The same emotions. The same emotions.
Can run through us.
The same emotions can run through us. The same emotions can run through us.
네, 그래서 배가 고프면은 화가 날 때 그때하고 똑같은 감정을 경험한다는 거죠.
We can be angry and make poor decision. We can be angry. We can be angry.
We can be angry. We can be angry.
We can be angry. We can be angry.
화가 날 수도 있고요.
And make poor decision. And make poor decision.
And make
poor decision. Poor decisions.
Poor decisions. Poor decisions.
Poor decisions. Poor decisions.
네, decision 결정도 poor. 잘못된, 그릇된 결정을 하게 된다는 거죠. Make poor decisions.
Make poor decisions. Make poor decisions.
And make poor decisions.
And make poor decisions. And make poor decisions. And that is hanger. And that is hanger. And that is hanger.
네, 그게 hanger랍니다. 감사합니다.